guys, it's Faye, and I hope you enjoyed that goofy ass intro. It feels like it's been forever since I've played a Scion as a League starter. I'll be playing as an Ascendant using Orb Totems, and I'm gonna try and keep this short and simple, with more info being in the Google Doc in the description below. Video footage is of an older character on Standard with decent gear, and sadly Orb of Storms instead of Stormbrand because brands aren't in the game yet. The very same thing goes for totem count. We don't have the multiple totem support yet in the game, so it's just 3 for now. So moving on, here's a quick list of pros and cons of the build. The main thing to take away here from the pros is that Arc scales really well like most other spells, so you don't need super specific gear to use it as a League starter. There's also the aspect of survivability because Chieftain and Ascendant get you Totem Leech. The thing to take away from the cons is that Hierophant, even though they kinda got nerfed, they lost the totem, they're still probably going to do more DPS than Ascendant using their node. The other thing that I found, and it's pretty common knowledge, is that Arc sometimes isn't the best single target if there's not a ton of additional enemies around for the Arc to chain between. Gearing is pretty much in the air with all the new crafting options and Veiled mods. I include some optional uniques to work towards in the Google Doc in the description below, but the only one I recommend getting no matter what is a Spire of Stone unique jewel to prevent your totems from being stunned. I think it's kinda pointless for me to tell you any unique is definitely best in slot right now, with all the new crafting mods, especially with craftable mods like +1 to totems on shields being introduced. The passive tree will be located in the description below with leveling trees. I don't need to waste video time here on them. I tend to focus on survivability alongside DPS. You could totally opt out of some life nodes, get some more DPS ones if you prefer. The best part of Path of Exile is tinkering with someone else's preferred build and learning from it, so if you have different preferences, don't be scared to experiment. One thing I will cover though are keystone picks. This build uses only 2 keystones, Ancestral Bond and Mind Over Matter. Ancestral Bond adds a totem, at the cost of you not being able to deal damage directly. Mind Over Matter is a very regular, common, solid pick for survivability, and damage partially hits your mana before your life. If you're new to Path of Exile, it might be confusing to see the build starting from 2 different areas, but this is for when you get your final lab points, and then you can start from the Marauder area as well. Ascendancy nodes are pretty easy, unlike trying to say that. You won't be able to pick your first big node until Cruel, it sucks, it's part of playing a Scion, and that's going to be the Hierophant node. Since Hierophant was nerfed to only add 1 totem in its own Ascendancy, the Scion node seems more competitive than it was previously. You get increased mana, +1 to totems, an increased Mind Over Matter effect, Arcane Surge uptime pretty much always whenever you or your totems are hitting with spells, increased spell damage on top of that while you have Arcane Surge. With your Merciless lab points, go for the Chieftain Ascendancy node. This is what gives survivability. The most important thing here is that totems leech 1% of their damage dealt directly to your character's life. And if you don't care about survivability, you just want to rip, just beef it, whatever, pick Elementalist for more DPS. Grab the cast speed nodes at the beginning of Witch to get to the rest of the passive tree. But if you're going for the normal build that I'm doing, pick Path of the Marauder last. This enables some skill tree shuffling and easy access to Marauder's starter life nodes, which are some of the best. The Pantheon isn't really a super deep system, I wish it was, it needs more stuff. Builds pretty much use a couple of them though, but not really the full range. For this build, it's probably best to have the upgrade Lunaris Pantheon power for mapping, because chaining enemies and them getting extra chains on you is very bad. If you're rolling right over those extra chain map mods, pick the Brine King, it's just good, it helps prevent stuns, it's just solid. For the minor Pantheon power, as per usual, take Rizlatha. I mean, we're using Life Blast, it's just really good. Next, I'll go over the various gem setups for the build. The main skill is Vol Arc Totems. For newcomers, Vol skills add a much more powerful cooldown skill to your bar in addition to the base skill. Both are on 1 skill gem. The new multiple totem support is very much worth it to me for the quality of life alone. But hey, I'm not your mom. If you hate seeing theoretical DPS hit damage go down, use increased critical strikes instead. I'm using Stormbrand for utility. You get power charges and can curse with it. Cast it alongside your totems. Lightning Warp is used for movement. This is flexible. Use whatever movement skill suits you. Like Flame Dash or another option better? Go for it. The auras here are Vol Clarity and Wrath. Vol Clarity because it's a nice survivability tool because it makes your skills temporarily not cost mana. I put Enduring Cry here as well since it's a nice thing to have combined with a max Immortal Call setup. There's two cast when damage taken setups. One is for auto-summoning your Lightning Golem, and a longer Immortal Call since Enduring Cry is in the build. The other will go off more frequently and includes a low-level phase run and Enfeeble curse to keep you a bit safer. Overall, this build should be a good league starter and carry you to acquiring your initial league currency, which you could put back into this build and roll maps even harder, or to fund an alternate character with. The most important thing is, I have information about the build, a cheat sheet basically, in a Google document below for easy reference, and also timestamps to each part of the guide. I'll be updating the Google Doc on the day of release when we get the official online skill tree planner to add leveling trees. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I always try to get back. If you're new to Path of Exile, feel free to ask general questions as well. The more people joining the game, the better. And hey, if this helped you out, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. It really helps out a lot, especially since YouTube's algorithm is shit. Thank you so much for watching, good luck in Betrayal League, and until next time.